Electrocast.
The hot mess I survived at 13 was losing my best friend to a golfing accident. And I kind of took it on myself. I had a very dysfunctional family, so no one asked me how I felt because I left for vacation. And that afternoon, she went down to lie down and had a brain aneurysm from the golf ball.
Death at a young age is hard to begin with, but when it's your peer, and you were with them when that accident happened, it's even worse because you don't know how to process it. Your brain physically is not developed enough to process that.
Welcome to Hot Mess Magic, your safe space to embrace the messy and imperfect side of life. I'm your host, Michelle Burke, international best-selling author, speaker, and personal growth guide, and I believe that each and every one of us is a hot mess, whether we want to admit it or not, and that in this world of filters and facades, it's time to let them all crumble. So join me as we dive deep into the messy, hilarious, and sometimes heartbreaking moments we all experience. Together, we'll explore the reasons behind our mishaps, gain valuable insights, and learn how to navigate life's challenges with grace, resiliency, and even a little humor. We'll share stories and learn from experts and build a community of listeners who understand the ups and downs of life. So hit that subscribe button and leave a rating and review, and let's dive into this hot mess together. Remember, the mess is where the magic happens. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hot Mess Magic Show. Today we have Denise McCormick with us, and when Denise and I connected, we automatically connected as that former teacher. Oh, it's just something about teachers in our blood. We can pick each other out and we just automatically connect. But like myself, Denise went from the classroom to taking a whole different direction. So I'm going to let Denise share with you what she decided to do.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Michelle, for inviting me to be here today. I'm really excited. And like you said, there is something about that teacher connection. I always tell people it actually comes to you as a calling first.
Yeah.
And not just a job. And it stays with you. And I think you spend the rest of your life wanting to help and support educators, which is why I did redirect this direction. I was taking a brain research class when I was getting my master's degree. A teacher walked into the room, Dr. Patricia Wolf, and she was probably my age now that I am now. And she was still teaching and still doing things to support educators. And I said to myself in the back of my mind, I want to be like her when I get done in the classroom. And so she said, don't retire, redirect. So I have redirected to helping women educators and women entrepreneurs who feel overwhelmed and are facing adversity to rediscover their zest for teaching and zest for life again. Yeah. And that's now my new purpose.
So. And I love it because you're absolutely correct. If you asked me at 5 years old, Michelle, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have told you a teacher. We had a 3-season room, and I would set up my chalkboard, and we had a table and chairs, and I would play school with my brother and friends, and I was always the teacher.
I know. I had books. Every one of them had a little piece of a notebook, taped in, and I played library. I was always about books. Always.
Yeah. So you're always been about books. So tell me about your books. You're also an author.
Yes. Well, when I redirected to entrepreneurship, I started off with thinking I wanted to help in personal self-care and well-being in the classroom. So I started a business with a company that was all about that, a green company. And I just decided then to that direction until my mother passed away suddenly. Kind of became a hot mess in my life, so to speak.
Yeah.
She passed away suddenly in January, and my nephew, who she was taking care of because he was a very troubled young man, took his life 10 days later. So I had a real hot mess as the executor of this estate to deal with. And 6 months in, I told my husband, I said, I need to get my spirit back. I just don't know where things are going. There was a lot of messes.
You're navigating grief. You're navigating grief of two individuals, losing them in a short period of time, which I have done myself. I lost my dad, and then 3 weeks later, lost my grandma. So I understand what it's like when you're navigating through the grief of two loved ones, one of them being a parent.
Yes. It's hard. So I traveled, so I was looking online and I saw Breakthrough to Success. And I thought, oh, I need another breakthrough to success. I was a state awarded teacher, but I'm not teaching anymore now. And I don't know where I am with things and where I want things to go. And how am I going to support these educators? So I went down to Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success in Scottsdale, Arizona. 250 people around the world, didn't know a soul. But I said to my husband, I need to do this for me. Because, Michelle, we've got to put our oxygen mask on first before we can help others.
Yes, we do.
So I met my publisher down there, Kate Butler. And she planted a seed in my mind. I didn't do it immediately, but she said, hey, you have so many stories and so many things that could inspire other people. And I have this book series called the Inspired Impact Book Series, and you should write a story in it. So I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And then I thought, oh, I know which story I want to write. I want to write about the hot mess my husband and I were in for 10 years. Facing the farm crisis on our Heritage and Century Farm here in Iowa that we managed to get through, and what we did. And that's when I went into education then, and went to school, got up at 4:00 in the morning, studied, got our 2 grade school daughters off to school, went to school, studied at the library, came home, took care of them, did it day after day. And I was a 4-point student because I knew to get a job, I had to be an extraordinary teacher. And so the love for my family propelled me to do that. So that's kind of how I got into teaching. And so I wrote that first story, and it was an international bestseller. And then I thought, wait a minute, there's some more things I could share about 6 decades of mindset that I've used since I was 13, because the hot mess I survived at 13 was losing my best friend to a golfing accident. And I kind of took it on myself. I had a very dysfunctional family, so no one asked me how I felt because I left for vacation. And that afternoon, she went down to lie down and had a brain aneurysm from the golf ball.
It's crazy. To experience death at a young age is hard to begin with, but when it's your peer, and you were with them when that accident happened, it's even worse because you don't know how to process it. Your brain physically is not developed enough to process that.
So I stumbled up the stairs when I found out what had happened that week, because somebody said, you don't know what happened this week, do you? Because they knew I was gone. And I got my quote books out, Michelle. I love quotes. And I got my prayer books out. And I think I kind of had a spiritual transformation because I made a decision that I was going to make positive choices to honor her life and to do things that mattered, because she was a straight A student. She was the Methodist minister's daughter. She wanted to be an astronaut. And I thought, okay, I need to be of service to the world. Not that I wouldn't have done that anyway, but maybe I wouldn't have taken that take on it. So what I did, Michelle, because I had that experience, and most kids will not have that, I wrote this book called Never Mind the Monkey Mind. And it's about the power of the words that we say to ourselves. And it talks about the number of thoughts we have. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts every day, and 80% of them are negative. And 90% are the ones we had yesterday. So how do we teach children at a young age? And I found a really clever way. It's kind of like a choral reading, little bit of a rhyming in it to lead the kids through with talking about the monkey mind, because the monkey mind is a real thing.
Yeah.
I studied the books on it, and I'm writing a book right now that's going to use some of the strategies that I've learned from those books. But that was my first book. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm using the success principles, because I just took Jack Canfield's advanced training in the success principles. And I want to write books for children that teach them these success principles. And then I'm working with a group of teachers to develop a curriculum that could teach that in the schools.
It's so awesome, and it's so needed, as the amount of anxiety has risen over the past 20, 30 years. But when you're in a school, you can feel the anxiety. You can feel, on some levels, the toxicity. Like if you're tuned into it,
yeah,
you can feel the anxiety. You can feel the toxicity. You can feel the pressure that are on these kids. And some of it is pressure that's put on them by their parents. And some of it is pressure that they're putting on themselves.
And they have social media pressure now.
Exactly.
So I wrote a song called Never Mind the Monkey Mind. And so, adults, this book is about saying positive affirmations to yourself. Well, kids aren't going to stand in front of a mirror and do that, but they will sing a song.
Yeah.
So I did an original song, and it's a funny story. When I was at Jack Canfield's event 5 years after I went the first time, and I'd already written 2 best-selling books, I went up to him and I said, Jack, I'm writing a children's book, and I've got this song. And I what do you think? And I sang it to him. This was after class on a Tuesday. And I went home and I go, oh my gosh, I just sang the Jack
Canfield. Like you sang a children's song to Jack Canfield.
So the next day, this is hysterical. He said, where's Denise? And there's a room full of 250 people from around the world. I go, here's my hand. And he sang the song.
Oh my gosh.
And he made me promise that I would send it to him. So he endorsed my first book, saying every child needs to learn how to address the negative self-talk of their monkey mind so they can be all they can be and achieve all of their dreams. This delightful book will help you to help them do that. And so that's what you got to do. You just got to ask people. And so my second book just came out July 25th.
Congratulations.
This is Collie the Talking Collie. I am taking 100% responsibility. That's the first success principle. It took me 4 years of trying to come up with how I was going to do that. And do you know the answer was in my own backyard, our dog.
Of course it is. It's always right there. The answer's always right in front of us.
Yeah. And so that book has a threefold goal. My first goal was to teach 100% responsibility. I thought, what better way than a dog? Every child can identify with that. And then the second goal was to, show modern farming on an Iowa farm. I felt the books were kind of antiquated there. And then the third component was the service dog component, because now this dog became for my husband. We had the hot mess during COVID of having to stay home because my brother-in-law had cancer and he worked with my husband. And we didn't want to take a chance on getting anything because he was in chemo. She became our emotional support dog and still is to this day. And now that my husband has some health issues, this dog is his constant companion. So we did and I'll show you my illustrator, Julie Bossum, and she was a retired art teacher. And you can see Polly in the middle, and then he picked all the other kinds of service dogs that there are. And then there's an educator's guide with it on my website at www.denisemccormick.com. And I have a monkey mind manual too for the books. So teachers could use them in the classroom, or parents could use them, or daycares could use them, or whoever wanted to with activity.
That's awesome, because it's so needed. And especially I am taking 100% responsibility, because we live in a world today where people aren't held accountable.
Nope.
They don't
see adults doing it.
Exactly. They're not going to do it.
Mm-mm. But the dog, she teaches it. So I found this one poster says lessons we learned from a dog. And I thought, ooh, I'm going to incorporate these into things Polly does in her life as a farm dog. And it was a hard ride. I'm not saying it was an easy ride. I did it with my publisher, Miriam Laundrie, through a mastermind because I knew I would need some support because it was a hard thing to write about because it's so personal. And every picture that's in here was from a picture I sent to my illustrator to give her ideas, and she used.
Wow. So like it's the book just has that personal touch to it, which makes that whole difference when there's a story behind the story.
And it was #1 in new releases on Amazon in all 3 categories it was listed in. So I'm just really
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
So when we had first chatted and you had told me about your trip to Ghana, why you had gone there, and it just lit me up beyond lighting me up. I'm like, sign me up now.
Well, you can go. She has people go every year, and she's got a group that's going this next year. So I can certainly see your name, and you can have a Zoom call with her. I can't even tell you how that experience shaped me at this point in my life. It was incredible. I always wanted to go to Africa, and how better to go than to be supporting an educator that has been there with this nonprofit Links Across Borders since 2006 and has built 8 libraries in Ghana. And now we're trying to help the I Can Club, which I taught my song and my book and brought 25 books over to leave with the students. At 9th grade, they take a test and then they have to leave their hometown to go to high school. They are sent somewhere around Ghana. And so it's like they're leaving for college. So they've got all these expenses. And so I'm helping her to fundraise for that right now. And the kids are growing a garden in her yard and selling the vegetables and showing that they're willing to work for this too. And so I'm promoting that on social media right now, and I'm really excited. And then I'm also going to be taking books up. Any authors that want to send me books, I'm taking up on my car to drive up to Canada in September for a live event that we're having with all the authors who published this year with me in that mastermind. And she's going to send books over to Ghana.
Yeah, that's great. Just, supporting those who need to be supported.
They don't have the resources we do.
They don't have the resources. Getting resources to those who need them is just so important.
And they take everything in. They were the fastest learners, the most intense listeners, because they have to listen because they don't have all the distractions our kids have.
Exactly, like we take for granted.
A lot of it's auditory learning. Kind of like back in the old days when we had the one-room schoolhouses and they didn't have any resources.
Exactly. Our kids today are just so overwhelmed with so much, and they're taking in so much information that it's going to lead to your monkey mind, chattering away. It doesn't, help. That's where it's just disconnecting. And
well, I hope you can go and experience that because I think you would absolutely. You'd love Sylvia and you'd love what she's doing. It's incredible.
I definitely want her information from you. It is something that I definitely want to do. It's just that.
And any of your listeners out there, she's had over 200 people that come and visit during these years. And she had built a beautiful house. She sold her house in Canada and built a house in 2019. And she has rooms. We stayed right in her home. And she cooks for us, and it's and the Ghanaian food is amazing.
Yeah.
I lost 6 pounds there. Part of it is because you're going and you're getting mangoes off the tree and everything's fresh, and she's making fresh smoothies and vegetables and everything.
It's
part of it. It was warm.
Yes, but you're eating a higher quality food. It's not, you're picking that mango, like you said, right off the tree. It's not doused in, pesticides,
no chemicals,
and, anything else that it might be even injected with. Who knows?
I know. And then the kids would come every Sunday and weed the garden, and so got to know them doing that as well. The ICANN Club, they came on a Saturday morning. So these kids are really committed to education. And that's why I really want this education fund to really help get them sent off high. There's 27 from their town. This is a small town of 500, rural Ghana.
Yeah.
We landed in Accra, and then it took us 4 hours to drive out to the rural village. But everything about it, going to the church from, they have drumming and dancing. I mean,
it's a whole different way of living that,
incredible.
Yes, because it's more of that. Primal is the word that's coming to my mind. More of that primal ritual, ancestral way of living.
And they honor their environment, they honor the animals, they honor the plants. Everything is all about celebrating life.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
It should be.
That's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think those of us that are in our modern world now need to visit these places, because we can get back to a few things that we've kind of gotten away from just by being aware.
Yes, it puts you back into a state of reality and back into those, more simpler times. Back to basic.
I know. And the people make you feel like you're the most important person in the world. That we met the chief and the elders, and I brought him my Monkey Mind book. And one of my best friends is Dr. Angela Sadler Williamson. I'm an associate producer with her PBS special, Authentic Conversations, out in LA.
Awesome.
And I met her when she came and got an award at our college. And I went up to her and I just said, Angela, I think you need to be in my publisher's next book. And sure enough, she was. Well, she went on to do her own children's book, My Life with Rosie, because she's Rosa Parks' cousin. So these are the things that happen when you go on. I couldn't have even dreamt of the things that would happen to me. And the awards that I got this year just came to me because I've been trying to be of service, and
that's what I feel it's all about. Like, you have that, that servant's heart that wants to serve, that wants to give, and to give without expecting anything in return. It's like what you're receiving, that, seeing that kid's face light up as, you're handing them books. It's like, that's what you're receiving. Like that smile means more than that smile, and that thank you actually mean more than any award, at least in my mind.
And they're so appreciative and so like, I'd just be walking along. May I carry your book? If I had something in my hands, they weren't told to do it. That's just what they do. And it's really, it's beautiful to watch.
It totally is. And
I was there 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So I got a feel for a lot of things. Out in the bush, we were in the monkey sanctuary, we did all kinds of really cool things.
That's awesome. I love everything that you're doing, but one of the things that I truly love is the fact that, don't retire, redirect. It's stating that and it doesn't have to be when you're at a retirement age. Right. It can be at any point in your life, as to, this job that I'm doing right now doesn't serve me anymore. I am miserable. Redirect. Go back.
And that's what I did. It's exactly what I did. And I have a saying that's my own quote. I am not my circumstances. I am my dream.
I love it.
So I took really, like you said, a hot mess. It was a hot mess when I left. I could have gone two ways with it. We always have a choice.
Mhm.
Life is hard. Okay. Nobody escapes a hard life. Everybody has a hard life because we just have things that come up that we don't expect and are out of our control. But we can choose. Okay. If we choose to do things that are good and things that are a service to others, then we're blessed with receiving. But if we don't do those things, then we just sort of sit in our own mire and say, poor me. And I just wasn't going to do that. I just wasn't going to do that.
Exactly. Or when we do things for others and then we're like, well, wait, what am I getting in return? Like, what are you going to do for me? It's like, no.
And if you do it with no expectation, these awards that came to me this year, I went, well, when she emailed me about it, I said, well, I didn't even sign up for, even one. She said, you had to be nominated for this. This was not you couldn't go out and buy this or solicit for it or anything. It came just from what you were doing with your own heart service work. So,
yeah,
and it means the world to me. Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell that it means the world to you, and you're still able to educate. You're still able to make that impact, that difference, and you're making it on that bigger scale. And that was something with myself. That was something with myself where I knew I wanted to create change. And I knew while I was in the classroom that I was creating change in those individuals' lives. And that I was making an impact on my students. But I also knew that it was time to make a greater impact.
Exactly. And, when they handed me these awards this year, best-selling author and educational coach of the year, and that came from the International Association of Top Professionals. And then I was in Marquis Who's Who, and they just put me in the Wall Street Journal as the distinguished leader of 2024. And then the International Association gave me Empowered Woman of the Year. And I thought, okay, you know why I got that is because I believe empowered women empower other women.
Yes.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Wholeheartedly. Yes. Denise, you are just simply amazing in all that you do, in all that you give. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience today?
Well, I would like to share that I do have a Facebook page called The Educator's Edge. And what I do with that is I share trainings from Jack Canfield, and I share self-care things. And I also interview other authors from around the world with good books that would make a difference for kids in the classroom. So that's something that I really am passionate about. And I've done it every day for the last 3 years.
That's awesome. And we'll include that link in the show notes. If anyone wanted to get in touch with you, how can they do that? And we can include that in the show notes as well.
My email is Denise at DeniseMcCormick.com. My website, which you can see everything I do, is www.DeniseMcCormick.com. And that has my educator's guides for both books on that and ways to buy the books. I'm on Instagram at Denise A. McCormick. I'm on my personal page is Denise Kennedy McCormick. I've got a business page with my business Success Mindset Mentorship LLC and The Educator's Edge. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on YouTube with videos of the shows and TV shows and podcasts I've been on, as well as author interviews.
Awesome. So
I've been working the last 10 years for all of this. This didn't happen overnight.
No, it never happens overnight. To the outside world, it might look like it's happening overnight, but it's been a process, a journey, a messy, magical journey, and that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just have a huge shout out to my publisher, Kate Butler Books, because she really there's over 600 authors in her series now. And, some of them are lifelong friends now for me that I've met. And I've also helped them become authors. That's my favorite part, is to help somebody else become an author. And I do coach. I'm a success mindset coach, and I do have a couple slots open for my one-on-one coaching. If you've got a dream out there and you don't know how to get there, that's what the success principles do, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. So those are the things I'm doing now. And I definitely redirected.
You directed and you redirected big. You took that hard right and just kept on going.
I did.
And it might have been a windy road up a mountain, but you did it.
And, there's a quote I love, and I got it in some of my books, and it's an Eleanor Roosevelt quote, and it's, "You gain strength, confidence, and courage by every situation where you must stop and look fear in the face. You say to yourself, I've gone through a horror before. I can take the next thing that comes along. We can take the next mess because it's going to happen.
Exactly.
I must do what I think I cannot do." And there's 2 acronyms with fear that I want to share with you, Michelle. FEAR. You can face everything and rise. This is your choice.
Yep.
Or you can forget everything and run.
Yeah.
Now, think of what you feel like. Yes, you're scared. Do it with fear, because courage is doing something when you're afraid to do it.
Yeah.
That's courage.
Yeah. And it's all about taking that leap and doing the thing. And we have that nervous feeling. I said this before, in our bodies, can't distinguish whether it's fear or excitement. They both feel the same in our body.
And do you know that our mind believes what we tell it? So it's really important what we say to our mind, because the message in my children's book is what you say to your mind then says to you. It all starts with your words, which you have the power to choose.
Yes. Yeah. Watch your words. Watch your language.
Watch your words.
Wow.
There's power in them.
It is empowering. And that's one of the things where, in watching your words, take a journal. And at the end of the day, write down your observations from that day. And not only things that you've seen, but things that you've said to yourself. Like, what was on autopilot in your brain? Because that's how you're going to start to see your self-talk.
Yeah. You got to be aware of what you're saying to yourself.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Well,
because
Denise, it was a pleasure having you on.
Oh, thank you. You enjoyed it. I love what you're doing. And I got your book ordered. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you. Yes, because each and every one of us, as we know, is a hot mess. It's all in how we navigate that mess, all in owning it. So I am taking 100% responsibility, and owning that mess.
Yeah.
Because that mess, we can do several things with. We can let it define who we are, or we can say it's just a blimp in this journey. And it doesn't define who I am. Something that had happened. It's something that I learned from, grew from. And here's the magic that I'm taking from it.
Yeah. And that's what this book talks about, a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
Yep. Because that's what we're here to do. We are here to grow, to expand, to learn, not to be stuck in, a dead end anything.
Yes. Definitely. Yes.
Again,
thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure having you on. We will include all of your links in the show notes so that people can get in touch with you. And yeah, Kate is amazing. She is the one who connected. And that concludes another episode of the Hot Mess Magic Show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Hot Mess Magic. Remember, the mess is where the magic happens. So embrace your inner hot mess and keep shining bright. Until next time, keep laughing, keep learning, and keep discovering the magic in your mess. Be sure to subscribe to Hot Mess Magic for more episodes, leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform, and share this episode with a friend who needs a little hot mess magic in their life. Until next time.
Dreaming of the perfect event or longing for a clutter-free space? I'm Stephanie with I'm with Steph, where your vision becomes a reality. From magical weddings to transformative home organizing, we bring you expertise and passion to every project. Whether you're planning a grand celebration or seeking peace through organization, we tailor our services to meet your unique needs. I'm with Steph. To explore our services and connect with me directly, visit imwithsteph.com. Mention Electricast for a 20% discount.
Hi everyone, I'm Geraldine Glass, a leader in the field of music as medicine, and I'm excited to share with you my newest release of healing sound, Pentatonic Visions, with Chris Scholler and Electricast Records. Immerse yourself in ethereal realms where the harmonies of nature, tribal rhythms, and soundscapes blend with the crystal singing bowls. It's out now, streaming on all platforms.
Electricast.